guys, I'm Aubrey.
Hi, my name is Cinti Carrillo.
My name is Arielis Santiago.
My name is Christian De Jesus.
And we're here to talk to you today about the 4 years of truth and our experience here at Westfield State University.
Who were you back first year? And I mean first year walking onto Summer Bridge.
I don't know, like I was shy, but like I was so determined to make my name on this campus. So like I came in like involved in everything. I was so busy my freshman year. I just wanted to become this person, but one thing was I was so focused on my image and my reputation that I noticed that I didn't let myself go. So I was out there, leader-wise, but social-wise, I think I was lacking a lot.
I felt like I was so destroyed by my senior year of high school and a lot of things that I went through during high school that when I came here my freshman year, I thought it was gonna be like an outlet for me to just be free, but instead I just brought all my problems from my senior year into my freshman year, and I was that person who I was ignorant, I was loud, I was obnoxious, I don't know, it's hard to think back on who that person was because it's like, that was really you, that's really you compared to who you are now.
I was nobody. Put it that way. I came in with the mindset that I was just gonna come to school and that was it. I was committed to a relationship and just my family, and then I thought that I had friends that were gonna be with me for the 4 years, but everything changes.
It was a mess. An absolute mess. I never imagined myself coming to college, so when I got the chance to come, it was very different from what I imagined. You see it on movies, you see it on TV, you see people talk about it. When I came here, I realized that I could reinvent myself. So I took that opportunity literally, and I began to do things out of my character, make decisions that were completely out of my character. And I had a lot of things happen to me my first year, a lot of tragic things happened to me, and it just kind of shaped, I don't know, my first year was rough. It was rough. I hate my first year. I hate thinking about it.
What is one experience in your 4 years here in which you think has changed you to become the person you are now?
When my grandmother got sick, my sophomore year, I think that was the most humblest moment ever because I didn't know what would happen to her. I didn't know what happened to my family. I just knew that it was I just had to go. I just had to leave, and for me to be able to leave and be there and figure it out, and for her to just get better, it was okay, well now I have to do whatever it takes to be the best that I can be while she's here, and just to continue to strive to be the best person ever for her especially, and to continue to hit goals. It just hit goals and hit goals because it just makes you feel so proud about yourself, and it makes her smile, it makes her proud, and it's just you can't, the only competition you have in this world is you, and that's it, and there's nobody like you on this planet, no matter who's similar to you or anything. You're your only competition, and the only person that could beat you is really you if you let yourself get in your head too much. So that, and then I would definitely have to say last semester as well, just because I felt like it was a test from God, and I already know that He's gonna put His strongest soldiers through the toughest times because He knows that they can get through it. And for it to happen to me, it was okay, this happened to you, and because it happened to you, you need to do something to change. You need to do something, not only change the world, but to change yourself as well. And it just changed me ultimately as a person. It's just okay, make the best of the situation, turn a negative into positive, and shed light on what's going on, not only here but in the world. And that was like a damn, like, you really did that. You and everybody around you, you did that, and you made everybody proud, and you changed this campus in many ways. And that was like okay, like I found me, like I know what I'm supposed to do now.
Who would you consider to be the most influential person in your life?
Dang. Normally I would say my mom. Like, she's the most influential person in my life overall. But right now, I would definitely have to say my friends. Like, all of them. Like the three of them on stage, Nestor, Shakara, all of them. I would have to say all y'all because it's like, if I didn't find y'all, I would probably still be the same person I was freshman year. And because I found y'all, I understood what it meant to strive every day. I understood what it meant to grow. I understood what it meant to be okay with being you, and be okay with having flaws, and be okay with just like accepting yourself. And that is like the most influential thing that I could ever think of, because at that time when I met y'all, it was just like, I was just lost again. It was like, okay, now you're trying to figure it out, but you're not trying hard enough to figure it out. And then it was like, bang, y'all came into my life, and it was like, okay, this is how you're gonna figure it out. They are gonna be a way to figuring it out. And to be able to achieve different goals with y'all as a unit, it's like okay, if I could continue to push myself and have y'all in my corner, then I could do anything. And I would definitely have to say, like, it's y'all.
Any regrets?
Nah, definitely no regrets. Just because I had to learn over time, like, don't regret anything that you do, because whatever you do is always gonna be a learning lesson. It's always gonna help you grow as a person. It's always gonna help you understand something more. So regrets is just like, I look at regrets as lessons in a sense. And that's why it's like, I don't regret nothing. I'm just thankful for everything. I'm thankful for everything that's happened to me, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. I'm just thankful that it happened to me, because it's made me who I am, and it's helped me grow as a person. So, no regrets.
Why is it so hard for you to open up?
Oh my gosh.
Is there anything that happened in your life that you felt where you needed to close off?
Well, I guess growing up in church played a big role. So basically, my parents were pastors, and I would always see how people would come in and out of my life. Like, when I thought I had a friend, they would do something that would show me why they weren't my friend, and I would see the way people would do my parents as well, and there was just a lot of things that I would question. And I guess why it's hard for me to open up is because emotions have a lot of power, and if you give someone that much power over you, they can use that against you and just basically take advantage of you. So opening up to someone is like very meaningful to me. And sorry for the cough. I don't know. I guess it's just like a defense mechanism. I wouldn't want to give someone that much power over me.
Something you live by.
What do you mean, like a quote, or
Just
like
any lesson you live by. Something that you preach to people. That you always hold on to your heart.
Something that I always preach to people is, I guess you could say your 20s are like your selfish years, but then again, like, senior year made me realize that everyone's timeline is different. Some people will move faster than you, and some people will you know, take it step by step, but eventually like everyone gets to where they have to get. But I feel like selfish years is very important because you need to realize that you need yourself before you need anybody else. You need to make sure you're okay, you're happy, you have things going for yourself and not just making everybody else happy around you.
What's your love like? Your love. What's your love life like now?
Okay, I'll be honest. At one point, I didn't want to believe in a love life. I just felt like everything was just so dead to me. Like the same situations would happen over and over, or it was just like the way this generation works, and they'll play the role to get one thing, and that's not how it worked for me. So I do think that, you know, love happens unexpectedly, and you can't plan for love, I guess. So whenever it comes, it comes.
Tell me about your grandmother.
Oh my gosh. So my grandmother, it's not something I really talk about a lot, but I can't say that not a day goes by that I don't think about her. She passed away my sophomore year, beginning of sophomore year, specifically when I was going through a lot of changes, like internally and, you know, socially, I guess you can say. And she was the one who had my back, like nobody ever did. Like it was like she gave birth to me, I guess you can say. Not a lot of people in my family know the relationship that I had with my grandma, but I would talk to her about everything. She would, you know, give me her advice. She would yell at me, but she was the one who held me down, like with my transition from like high school to college. And you know, she would always send me money. She would always, like, if I needed something, she was there. So I guess just having that warm heart next to me, like physically being able to like sit on her lap, was always like a stress reliever when I would go home every weekend. And then when she happened to pass away that year, it was like a big shock. Like, I guess I didn't think it had like affected me, but then when I looked at, like, you know, my academics, the way I was feeling, like I realized, like, oh my gosh, I missed having that person that I would just go home and complain to all the time, I guess you could say. Yeah.
What is one thing you would tell your future children?
My future children? Dang, that's kind of hard. I'd say do what makes you happy. Because from my experience, I know that my whole life, I would always try to please others, like inside of church or like outside of church, my family, but I never realized what made me happy. So, which made it kind of difficult, you know, nowadays, making decisions and stuff, but definitely I would tell my children, go for what makes you happy. If playing basketball and you want to make that a career, go for it, as long as it's something that you're passionate about. Bet.
So at what point were you able to kind of realize that you had too much on your plate, to the point where socializing didn't take precedent or wasn't even part of what you kind of were juggling? So at what point were you able to say, okay, I need to integrate a social life into my time?
Wow. I think it was when I became closer to my friends, because second semester my freshman year, I got in a relationship, so I still went home a lot, so I was barely on campus. My sophomore year, when I became a resident assistant, that's when I had to be on campus a lot, so I was always with my friends. But I feel like I was still closed off. I think when my junior year, when I finally became single, that's when I became a savage, and I learned who Christian really was. So, yeah.
At what point were you able to breathe again?
Honestly, I've had moments in the last about 2 years, because yeah, I've been single for about 2 years. moments in where I thought that I was good and I was chilling and I was living my best life, but in reality, now a situation had happened this semester that really showed me that someone is not worth fighting for if you're not even worth I don't even know how to say it. If you're not even worth having respect for you. So there's no point in having somebody in your life or trying to care or trying to help someone who's just at the end of the day going to treat you like you never existed in their life or you never had an impact in their life. So now this semester has taught me so much. In that specific situation, I grew so much from. If it was my freshman year, I think I would have reacted completely different. And if it was my sophomore year, I would have been begging for somebody's love. And I think that's what I learned this semester. I shouldn't be begging for somebody to be in my life. I shouldn't be begging for love. I became so isolated that I learned to love myself, and I learned so much about myself that I love. So why not keep learning about myself in the next years? If the right person comes along, then it's fine, but I think now I'm able to breathe because I know who I am as a person and I know who I'm building as a person. So yeah.
So what is kind of your motto, Christian's motto over the 4 years here? What is the one thing that you will always preach?
Be you. Individuality is one of my biggest things and one of the things that I hold close to my heart. People are unique in their own way. Everybody's different. Yeah, people may have the same things in common, the same qualities, but everybody's unique. If I sit down with somebody that I couldn't stand or I disliked and I learned about them, I would probably become friends with them because of their story. Everybody has a story, and that's extremely important to acknowledge. When we judge other people, when we talk about other people, we gain nothing from it. So why, instead of talking about them, why not empower each other? I think with that we can go a lot farther in life. So I'll always preach, be you and be who you are, because at the end of the day, that's why you have a purpose in this world.
All right, so can you talk a little bit about what happened last semester and then how you were able to transition into this semester? Because we did talk about you're finally able to breathe now. So what happened last semester?
Last semester, I don't know, something shut off in me. I don't know what it was. Like, I came in that semester, I had one of the best summers of my life. I came in that semester, senior year, I'm gonna have the best year of my life. I was determined to make senior year the best. I received one phone call. After that one phone call, I noticed myself again distancing myself, but at this time it was my leadership roles. I didn't go to see my advisors. I wasn't going to class. I was going to my internship because I had to. When I had the chance, I would just go straight to my room. I barely seen my friends. It was to the point where they started questioning my friendships, where my bosses started questioning my work ethics, and they would tell me, Christian, you're not the same, your vibe is not the same, your energy is not the same. And that's when I started noticing what was going on. I started smoking a lot of weed to get what I was feeling out. I didn't know what I was feeling. I was just done. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this whole school thing. I didn't want to speak to anybody. I was just done. But going into, and I think that was one of the biggest challenges I faced during college, is I noticed that I was facing my depression again, and I was going through another episode. I just didn't realize it soon because the last episode I had was in high school. That was the biggest thing, was going through my depression again and having to wake up every single day and pretend that you're okay. Having to walk out to class, to try to keep doing work, try to go to class. Even though I felt like I was gonna have a panic attack, I had to stay in class and learn. At least try to learn, because I couldn't even concentrate. Again, go to my room, go to bed, sleep, eat, sleep, and just be closed off. My friends didn't know about nothing, and nobody knew. But I guess it was, I don't know. Then my transition to this semester was amazing. I feel like a brand new person. I grew so much confidence, and I know who I am now, and I know where I'm going. So that's the true power of talking, because it was one conversation that I told one of my friends about how I was feeling that broke out all those emotions, and I was able to grow out of that. So the power of interaction and the power of the relationships that you have is truly important. One lesson that you have learned throughout your 4 years here, a lesson that you stand by till this day.
So for me, that happens to be, I don't have to explain myself to anybody. I don't care who you are. You can be my best friend, you can be an acquaintance, you can be an administrator, a professor, my mom, anybody. I don't have to explain the decisions I make because I know who I am. My relationship with God is my relationship with God. Nobody else needs to be involved in that. And when it comes down to deciding something based off of what I know I need, deciding on something based off of my success, deciding something based off of literally just what I want to do, I don't have to explain myself to anybody at all. I won't ever explain myself to anyone. And that's something that I think I've had to learn, because a lot of times the people closest to me didn't understand why I was making the decisions that I made. And it just came to a point until I said, fuck it. I'm done explaining myself to other people. I'm done trying to get people to understand why I decide the things I decide or why I do the things I want to do. And unless I'm doing something to literally harm myself, I don't want to hear anybody question me. Because I know who I am. I'm at where I'm at because of the decisions that I've made. So those who want to question me, that's cool, but I'm not giving anybody any more explanations, and that's that.
Okay. What was your relationship with him?
So I'm the oldest of 4. Obviously I have my sister and my 2 brothers. But my uncle was like my uncle, but then when I wanted to do like ratchet stuff, he was like my big brother. And we could talk about anything, and anything that I knew my mom would whoop my ass about, I knew I could talk to him about. So he was like my brother, but like my big brother, my uncle at the same time, and also like a friend. But he would whoop my ass if I'd be disrespectful. You know, that happy medium, so yeah.
So with the situation that happened with his passing away, how has that impacted your choice of career? Or has impacted your path in general throughout these 4 years and continuing on?
So what a lot of people don't know is that when I came from a vocational high school, so my trade was dental assisting. I'm a certified dental assistant now, and I wanted to become an oral surgeon and go into the Navy. And so his death happened October 6, 2014, so slap dab in the middle of first semester. And I was angry for a long time, but over winter break that year, I started to think about what I wanted to do in my life and how I could make something so tragic become something meaningful. And for a lot of Latino families, we don't understand what addiction is, and we don't understand the impact that addiction has on a person's life, and we think it's a choice and something that they want to do, and they want to be addicted to drugs, and they want to be strung out on the couch, passed out, you know what I mean, high as hell. And sometimes Latino families don't realize that it is an addiction, but it's also a disease, and people don't see that, and especially in the Latino community, they don't understand that. So I think for me, I was thinking to myself, how can I make my family more aware of what, you know, substance use and substance abuse is? And then I said, why do I only have to do this for my family? Why can't I make this kind of a larger scale type thing, global? So I started to think about how I wanted to open a rehabilitation center for those who suffer with the addiction of opiates and things like that. And then that's when I started to say, you know, I wasn't able to help him the way I would have wanted to help him, because he never wanted to show his nieces and nephew that he had an addiction, and that wasn't really something he talked about with us. But I was one of the older nieces and nephews, so I knew that that was something he had trouble with. And I knew when those days he was quiet and wasn't making jokes and he was just kind of sitting on the couch dozing off, I knew he was high, so I knew. But then just to kind of see and think and say, okay, the way you could have helped him is the way that now you can help somebody else. So I hope to work within hospitals and prisons and help those who can't be helped and help those who don't have family members who try to understand or want to understand. And some family members don't want to understand and some family members can't understand. So just helping families realize that and helping people realize that. And my goal isn't necessarily to fix the families and their understanding of the addiction, which of course I would love to educate them, but it's more about empowering the person who is addicted, the addict, and helping them understand that it is something you can walk away from and you can turn a negative into a positive. And I think the one thing I will always take from his death is that he died on a Monday, but the Sunday before, he was at my house with my mom and he had a list and he was making a list of things that he wanted to do. He told my mom, he's like, I'm tired of all this, and he wanted to make a change. He went to church that Sunday and they prayed for him, and you know, I knew he walked out of there positive, and he had a list of paper and he was just writing things down, like I want to do this and do that and move to Florida with my brother and all these things. And that was on his dresser when he died, and that piece of paper I'll always remember. And I'll always remember that his motivation and what he wanted to continue to do is something that another person who's addicted is going to have the chance to do, because I want to make that difference in somebody's life. So yeah.
What would you tell him if he was here right
now? I would tell him that it gets better. I can't speak because I can't talk about it because I'm not somebody who's addicted and I never know what it is to be addicted to something, but I wish he understood that God can change someone, and I wish he would have kind of held on to his faith a little harder than what he did, because he left behind 2 sons that I wish he could see grow up and do the things that they do and go to school and play baseball and all those things, and just I wish he would have held on to his faith a little longer, and I wish I could have helped him, but I can't. And I think about all the time if he was going to be at my graduation and see the things I would do, but if he was still here, I wouldn't be pursuing a career in substance abuse counseling. So I thank him for that, because now I'm passionate about something. So